Rid of all your racism.
Stop saying that.
Welcome to Sage Against the Machine. This is the podcast of Indigenous politics and culture and decolonization and all those cool words. Who are you?
I'm Isaac.
I'm Joshua. We're coming back at you again. We're probably going to speed up our delivery times because shit's moving so fast that it's out of date by the time this hits the internet.
It really is. And we're actually, I'll show everybody. We're starting to have an agenda.
It's blank. He showed him the blank side.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here. See? That's my handwriting. Try to read that shit, everybody.
I know it's pretty bad. Almost
but
like
mine's horrible. I've actually, mine is on the level of an elementary, in a sloppy elementary student.
Yeah, mine's not much better.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen yours before.
It kind of looks like that.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, what you could do is take a sheet of paper and practice day after day until you have beautiful penmanship.
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
I don't see the point anymore.
No, I don't know. It is nice when someone has nice handwriting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily it's I can appreciate it, but it's not something where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be like, oh, you're a better person because you have good handwriting.
One of my dumbest cousins has the most beautiful handwriting I've ever seen.
Yeah, did you ever notice that that's actually a thing?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are dummies that I know who they have nice penmanship.
Right. I bet they draw good too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't draw very well either.
Neither do I. You want some good stick figures? I got you.
Yeah. I can draw a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh, ace. Fucking A. Wait, 90s cartoon style or 90s comic book? Okay.
90s cartoon style.
Because actually, I think the 80s comic book style is pretty dope, too. It's pretty, I don't know, it's like raw, you know what I mean?
I think I caught a bug.
Yeah, I know you did. You're trying to get me fucking sick. And that's one of the reasons why we haven't recorded in a couple of weeks, because I had the goddamn flu. Josh is trying to kill me.
I haven't had it yet, so this is probably my go-round.
I don't think it's a flu, though.
No, I don't think I have the flu either.
I hope not.
I think I just have a cold.
Well, I still think it was because because that was actually, I got sick the night of, when we got done here the last time. And then when I told you I was sick, and then I'm like, oh, just warn the guys in case they use the same mic that I do.
Yeah.
But I don't think I gave William or Johnny a smallpox.
No, I don't think so.
Microphone.
Next time.
Yeah. I'll get him eventually.
Give him that avian flu in his finally jumps species.
Well, I'm trying to make it so that this show is more important than the Outlaws, and my goal is to take William and Johnny down one at a time.
Right.
You guys heard it here first. Watch it, Johnny and William. I'm coming for you.
He wants to be an outlaw.
Yeah. I don't know that I don't know. I'm too serious most of the time. So, yeah, I don't know. We do have an agenda, though.
We do, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Rough.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Kash Patel being confirmed by the Senate in a 51-49 vote with 2 Republicans opposing his appointment, which was pretty cool. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. But one of the, me being a journalist and this show being, journalism adjacent, one of the things that I've seen is a lot of journalists are concerned with Kash Patel being appointed because he's had some not so favorable looks at journalists in general at times. He did that. And he did an interview with Steve Bannon where he essentially said that he would go after journalists and prosecute them if he had the opportunity. And, so it was, and I looked at it and I saw, he was interviewing with Steve Bannon. So, I kind of expect outrageousness in there, but he came back later and he said he's not saying he wants to go fully at journalists. It's that he wants to prosecute journalists who have broken the law. Now,
what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. What he considers breaking the law, I don't know, because when you talk about that, journalists are held to a standard, and we can be held liable. There's defamation and all that stuff, and it's when you get into libel and that kind of stuff, it can be a high standard to meet, but as we all know, sometimes on that slope to authoritarianism, you may start erasing the borders of what's legal and illegal.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is he'll go after people who don't agree with him.
Yeah,
or his dudes.
And the thing is like when you look at Trump, he said those things before.
Yeah.
I just think that as we're in his first month of his new term, I think we're seeing that, move fast and break things kind of shit.
Yeah.
And
he's disrupting. He's like the tech guys. They're disrupting.
I know. And that's the thing is like...
They're disrupting. It sounds better than fucking up.
Well, the big tech guys, they're so full of shit too. It's like...
They're disruptors.
Yeah, you're not disruptors. You're fucking oligarchs and you're robber barons. And they saw an opportunity to control society, essentially. Which, whatever. Like, they're making their money and all that shit. But what really worries me is, I knew when Elon wanted to buy Twitter and then eventually did it.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be bad. That dude is a megalomaniac. And then you see the rest of, you got Peter Thiel and Bezos, all those fucking guys out in Silicon Valley. Why would I trust them?
Well, yeah.
And then you look at, and they've all had their beefs with journalists, over time. And
people don't like someone that's going to tell on them.
Exactly.
And will say mean things about them that are true.
And and that's the thing is, they're going to say that these things are mean when really it's their perception is that it's mean. But if it's true, then, you can be angry about it all you fucking want. Like I've had people mad at me for stuff that I've written, but it was true.
Yeah.
So, where's the line here? And
well, when you have things like the FBI going after journalists for what they say, that's trying to clamp down on free speech. On the negative side, it's like, wow. Well, number one, maybe that will spur journalists to be more critical.
Right.
And as someone who loved zines, I'm looking forward to the Punk Underground.
Yeah. Okay. I've never really checked out any zines before.
Yeah, I'm a fan of zines. I like the old hacker zine.
You're going to have to send me some stuff to read.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, and that's where, see, what you said that's exactly where I hope everybody in the profession of journalism would be to, go more radical.
Yeah, go independent, go underground.
Yeah, exactly, and do it that way.
Foment a revolution.
Sure. When you look at it, revolutions or revolutionary type movements, any type of, social activism, you would hope most of the time that, and it does historically, a lot of it comes, a lot of it is fed through journalists.
And typically you need a catalyst.
Exactly.
Well, there's a reason why.
We have one now.
Yeah, the free press comes about because of revolutionary United States.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ben Franklin.
That was his whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, the Federalist Papers, all that shit.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean? That is in...
Although Jefferson tried to make free speech a crime when it came to the...
Yeah, well,
when it came to the press, he got real mad when they printed mean stuff about him.
Well, you can't really... people need to disabuse themselves of that idea that the founding fathers are some kind of
the slave-owning racist was also a hypocrite. No way.
Exactly. I encourage people all the time.
Land speculating, raping,
thieves, and
human trafficker.
Human traffickers, serial rapists.
Yeah. He was also bad.
Yeah, people who considered, black people to be chattel, literally chattel. These are not people that you need to hold up
people
as some
who
sort of
enslaved their
hero.
own children.
Yeah, Sally Hemings, right?
Yeah,
he had, and I couldn't confirm this for sure, but I would almost guarantee that, other founding fathers who owned slaves probably fathered some children with some of their female.
I have
chattel.
zero doubts.
Yeah, females that they considered their chattel.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just that idea of, I always tell people, if you are a nerd and want to take the time, just take an intro to law, a con law class, and just a 100 level. It's not anything crazy. There's a lot of work to it, but you'll see that the founding fathers are not these, heroes in the way that most Americans make them out to be. They didn't really want that. That's why the Electoral College is there. They wanted to skew it so that, they were never going to go for direct democracy. It was never going to be one person, one vote.
Initially, it was only landowners could vote.
Yeah. And they had to make a compromise on that. And so they did. And you end up with the Electoral College and all this bullshit. But that is one of the things, and I will give them credit, the First Amendment of the Constitution, that is unique in the entire world.
Yeah, Canada doesn't have it. Communities have gotten in trouble for saying things.
Europe doesn't have it. It's not. That is something unique to the United States, which is that's good.
Yeah.
But we do see journalists frequently being under threat.
To me, that says stop being pussies.
Well,
Go for it, because it's not like they've been super critical, really.
Some have,
but not the big shots.
Yeah, and when you look at the corporate media, that is where you see the biggest cowardice. The largest amount of cowardice, and me coming from working for Indian Time and doing my own independent stuff before. Look, it's easy for me to sit here, I guess, and say, to agree with you and say, you all need to stop being fucking weaklings. Don't be a pussy. Like, go after it hard. And too often we see a reluctance by journalists to do that. And I fully am with you on that criticism. But, if people are going to be in the journalism, Reddit and concerned about this so much, and these are mostly journalists in there, well, then go at it harder. Go right at them.
Make a zine.
Yeah.
Do whatever make it under an alter ego.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have no problem with doing that at all. They have the skills. They know how to get it done. Mm-hmm. Then do it. Mm-hmm. Let's not sit here and act helpless, for the potential. Well, that's the other thing. I don't want people, let's not get hysterical about it. Prepare for the worst, though, but be proactive.
Right.
Because what were you were saying earlier about, sometimes it's too late. You know what I mean? You're fighting. You're fighting with one hand behind your back. Essentially,
yeah.
At
what point is it too late to Second Amendment your way out of this?
Yeah, exactly.
And actually have the ability to fight back.
Yeah.
Like at what point, in the 1920s and 30s, at what point was it too late to stop the rise of the Reich?
Yeah. And that's
and then how much of that is just hysteria fueled on the same media who makes everything about teams and sides.
Yes.
Rather than just like these are the things that are being broken, and these are the possibility, the dangers that are a possibility.
Here's some potential outcomes.
Yeah.
And look at it. And look at it, try to look at it as rationally as possible, because that's something that,
Because let's not pretend both sides aren't playing sides.
It's
right.
It's essentially two sides of the same coin.
Go to the R News on Reddit or R World News, and then go to R Conservative, and you will be looking at two different worlds.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, it's totally, the way media operates in the U.S. is pretty. I mean, yes, there's the free press, but most of the news that people consume is the corporate media, and I mean, you can argue all day long about blue or red team. Most of the time, it's pretty similar to the there's an overarching narrative that's about promoting America, which I'm not saying that being proud of your nation is a bad thing, but
it's a bad thing.
Well,
it's almost always a bad thing.
It can easily turn into a bad thing. I'm not advocating for nationalism as your personal religion or anything like that, but I also I can see I can see how it. I mean, and if you're objective about it, people need to take a step back. That like when you say zines or people should, and I know I've said this a million times here ad nauseum, but go independent in your news consumption.
Yep. And I guess one of the good things about technology is now we have things that can rank news and show biases. So if you really care, look into one of those two, and not just someone who agrees with you, because it's really easy to just follow stuff that agrees with you. It makes you feel good.
I mean, you get into that echo chamber, right?
That's exactly what's happened.
I mean, it even happens that's what tends to happen on social media as well.
Yeah.
I mean, well, social media is designed for that.
And a lot of people just saying stuff, and they just say stuff, and they don't mean it, or they don't back it up with any kind of action. So, for instance, I went to a conference recently, and I heard a lot of people be critical of capitalism. Mm-hmm. And then the very same people had very nice clothing and watches, like name brand stuff, and have no
label people,
and have no motivation to say, okay, you live in a capitalist system, but you don't have to run your organization as in a capitalist manner.
Right.
If you believe that collectivism is the way to go,
you could run it as a cooperative.
You could run everything as a cooperative or a worker-owned collective or something like that.
Yep.
You could totally structure stuff that way, still operate within the system.
Yeah.
And I don't see too many people lining up to do that.
Yeah.
So it makes me doubt them when they say blah 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 capitalism, and then give me an excuse of why
you keep running it in a hierarchical fashion. With no equality amongst the people, or even equity amongst the employees.
And be critical of corporations when you run even your nonprofits in a corporate style.
Yeah,
like you don't have to run things that way.
You ever think that that's something that's? I know we need to kind of like stay to a bit of the schedule, but this made me think of something. Do you think that that's just? Has it just become a habit? People in the U.S. just don't really understand or even care to do the work to understand how to run something in a cooperative manner.
I think it becomes very difficult. There are worker cooperatives.
Sure.
One famous one is Mondragon.
Okay, I don't know that one.
It's out of the Basque region of Spain.
Well, that's what I mean, though. That's not in the U.S.
That's in the U.S. now.
Yeah.
In the U.S., there was a lot of them started as communes and then turned. Like Oneida,
the dishes?
The dishes.
Yeah, and
that started as a commune and all that.
Oh, no shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it started as a straight up like commune.
Oh, really?
That's what they were making was dishes.
Right.
And then
silverware and all that.
Over time, it just turned. The commune part kind of fell away.
Did that end up being essentially totally went away from their foundation?
I don't know. I don't know the rest of the story.
I'm gonna read about it because that's interesting.
I'll throw you pieces and you can take the rest. I scatter corn. That is my name.
We are never going to give you a full answer on anything, people. Don't you know anything yet?
Fuzzy history is my specialty.
You know what? No, I'm looking. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
my name means he scatters corn, so I'm throwing seeds out there.
I think you told me that before.
Yeah.
That's why I'm getting fatter.
That's right, corn like a chicken.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's something for people to think about. And I know that,
well, going forward, as you start your own organizations or you think about like for a minute there, I thought about our structure here with our elective systems and our hierarchical, blah, 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 all the stuff we bitch about.
Sure.
Well, how could you do it different? And why would you do it different? And, one thing you could do is you could turn it from a governance structure into a collective where the shareholders are all the people.
I mean, that's how we used to actually do things.
They can still have elections to elect their board members.
Yeah.
And why to do it is because it gives you more equity in the system. You're not just a beneficiary of this nebulous system, but you're an investor.
Well, I mean, that's part of it too, right? Is that, the idea of direct democracy. I don't necessarily have a problem with people who are going to, run the day-to-day operations. I don't necessarily have an issue with that.
If they're good at it.
If they're good at it, and there needs to be regular analysis by the people who do have a stake in it, which is all of us in Onkwehonwe, right? To be able to weigh in on that regularly. But, there are mechanisms that are available, such as more referendums, direct ballot initiatives.
Which we can do with phones.
And we can easily do that now.
And before you say that, oh, that's dangerous, I mean, you do your banking on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, that's your money.
You can deposit, well, can't do it at my bank, but there are a bunch of banks now where you can deposit a check with your fucking phone.
Oh, I do. I've done that for years. I've not gone to the bank I got a loan some years ago to replace my roof. The only moment I went to the bank is where I had to sign a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's when I bought my Kia.
Yeah.
That I bought everything. I did it all over the phone and on the computer.
Yeah. Yeah, there's almost zero reason to go to the bank.
Yeah, I knew exactly what I wanted to get. I found a dealership, called them up, haggled over the phone, and then I just went and had to sign papers. I mean, there's nothing. In my mind, I'm interested to see what you think about this. When people are oppositional to doing it that way, I mean, don't you tend to? I mean, I can't help but think that that's because they're just coming up with an excuse to keep doing what's been being done for an ineffective system.
Yeah. One part momentum, one part corruption, one part fear.
Yeah. Laziness is in there too.
Laziness. Yeah. And one part, people who work within the system like the system.
Of course.
It works for them.
Of course. When you have a nice, cushy job and, you make nice with the people who are, in that hierarchy above you, and you get some sort of level of comfort from, you start to feel as though, yes, they're your boss, but they're not going to harm you. You are going to be very oppositional to changing the system.
Yeah, people in prison do well when they follow the rules too.
Yeah.
When they make zero trouble and just go along to get along and just let anybody step on them.
Shit, there's one we can get into now. You seem to be much more knowledgeable about this situation than I am, but I've read a little bit. But you can explain more of what I'm getting at.
Oh, the prisons?
Yeah, the prisons.
Yeah, the prisons in New York State are all up in arms. The COs, the staff they're understaffed and there's some
overworked.
They're overworked, and there's also so they use the solitary confinement as a punishment, and that's been taken away from them.
Haven't they been using it as a tool as well because they're understaffed?
Probably.
Okay.
So that was taken away from them, and they say ever since, behavior has become harder to deal with. They don't have enough COs to deal with everything. It's unsafe. There's been COs, a whole bunch of a rash of outbreaks recently where they were dosed with something, probably some kind of opiate.
Fentanyl, probably
fentanyl.
Something easy to get and very potent in small doses.
So they want that act repealed. It's called the HEAT Act.
Halt.
Yeah, HEAT. The HALT Act repealed. They want 70% staffing to come back up to 100% staffing.
Right.
And they want secure vendors.
Okay.
So how is stuff getting into the jail?
Like the food vendors and shit.
Yeah. So somehow stuff's getting into the jail. And
sure.
It's either through the vendors or the COs themselves.
There's been plenty of instances.
I have no doubt.
It was the COs.
It's not a job that attracts the best and the brightest. And if that hurts your feelings, well, fuck off. You keep people in a cage.
Well, you know what? And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this too.
There's nothing rehabilitatory about or reforming about jails.
This is exactly what I wanted.
It's the white man, and the white man is about punishment.
So I tend to, from having worked in the court, and had, having to like kind of look into this stuff and kind of work with it a little bit. I tend to look, this is undeniable. When you lock people up, especially nonviolent people, you make them worse. They come out hardened, and they will go to worse crimes.
Yeah, they just got raped.
Right. For years.
We know it. We joke about it. I don't joke about it because it's not a joke. But
I don't joke about it. But
people will make, prepare for that to happen.
And it does.
Prepare to be in a gang.
Yep.
You're usually a race-based gang.
Yeah, and if you're a white guy, you really may not be racist. But
you're gonna be
join,
after this.
Yeah, you're gonna join up with the Aryan Brotherhood or whoever else. And that's not to excuse it or anything, but yeah, I don't look when people do shit that's against the law or when they're harming society. I'm not necessarily opposed to some sort of incarceration, but it does not work the way that they do it. It does not.
No, and
rehabilitation's a joke.
There's different kinds of crime. There's crimes without clear victims, like shoplifting.
Sure.
And like
drug abuse.
Drug use.
Drug use and abuse.
Drug use, drug abuse. And like even DWIs where someone didn't get in an accident, they were just drinking and driving.
Right.
They got arrested for something that might happen.
Right.
So, it does show a lack of judgment and addiction.
Absolutely.
But it's not the same as someone who
robbed a bank
or beat the shit out of his wife
or raped a woman.
Yeah.
Or a child,
or
whatever.
Stabbed somebody. Yeah. Those are all different things.
Very different.
And to put all those people in the same cage is dumb.
It is really dumb.
And, they'll tell you, oh, we have medium security, maximum security. That isn't really. And there's nothing reformative about it. I mean, people like to criticize the European model where they're like campuses and they learn things and they have counseling. But do you want to make people suffer or do you want to fix the problem so it goes away forever?
Well, also, it's my understanding that crime in Europe is not as high.
No, and it's actually dropping in the U.S., by the way.
It is.
It's at the lowest levels it's been ever.
Yeah, I know it is, even though the MAGAs try to say that it was going up.
Oh, they love to tell you that.
Well, they were also, and look, I'm no fucking fan of Joe Biden at all, but I mean, when they came out, when they were trying to tout those stats and say the crime was going up, that was so badly misrepresented that, even like a cursory examination of it would make you laugh.
It's just like when you take gun deaths and then you subtract suicides.
Yeah.
And then you subtract inner city violence.
Yep.
It's actually not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of this shit it's overblown in order to fuel the military or the prison industrial complex.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look, like I said, I don't think that there should be no incarceration for things. I know that the way that it's done now does not work. I think more like probably, we talk about solutions, right? That we should talk about here. Well, what about those campus style things?
Yeah.
Work camps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they make mistakes all the time.
Of course.
Like the DNA evidence with death row. They make so many mistakes.
Yeah, man. I used to be like super pro death penalty, and I still am for some things, but they fucked up a bunch of those before.
Yeah, I'm not for the death penalty. I don't think the state should be able to kill you. I think if someone is an unrecoverable psychopath, they should sit in a hole or something, or like in a garden full of flowers all by themselves.
But right, and then that raises the question: how many people are actually irredeemable psychos?
Yeah, I don't think there's that many.
Not many.
And then
they get turned into that in prison.
Yeah, and then the the pedophiles. Yeah,
do away with them.
They can't be near children.
No.
I mean,
which means they can't be in society.
Yeah, I mean, but we could still find an alternative where they could still earn their keep. And
I was talking about this the other night. Load them all up and send them to Madagascar. I mean, have you ever seen that movie No Escape with Ray Liotta?
Yeah. Like that, like Australia.
Yeah, like send them. Fucking Australia was a prison colony.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, but not for everybody. Look, my wife, she has her degree in psychology, and my understanding is it's pretty well agreed upon that pedophiles, you cannot cure that.
No.
You really can't.
No.
Now,
as I understand it, you can.
And so like,
I mean, that doesn't mean they're all going to act on it. But
that's
if they're already in the system, they've acted on it.
The ones who have acted on it, you know what I mean? Like clearly they can't control themselves, and you cannot have them in society because all of society, there are children. And like me personally, I probably would be more willing to just like put them out of their misery. Well, put society out of the misery of having them around. But yeah, I mean, you can't have people like that around children.
But those people could be put somewhere where they can do something productive, and sure, they can't be around children or on the internet, but they can still crunch. They can still be accountants and dig ditches. And
are you saying that they should grow sugar cane? And is this where we're going with this?
Cheap labor.
Yeah, I knew that. No, but I mean, no, but that's the thing is like, if you can put these people somewhere where, I mean, why couldn't you build industry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds kind of weird, I guess, but
we're okay with the state enslaving people, just not.
Well, even, but I'm not even saying like, obviously enslavement. I would never go for that. But what I'm saying is, you know, the mining towns, they had like the company store and all that shit. Why couldn't we have areas where there's industrialization, there's commerce, whatever it is, like that's being made or services, because there's accountants.
Yeah, I mean that would be the
where they export.
That would be the libertarian solution.
Sure, it
would be something like that. You probably be run by some kind of defense contractor.
Basically, have a DMZ outside of it or whatever.
Yeah,
but and actually, that might be a case where I would actually say, let the military take care of that.
You ever watched that movie with Rutger Hauer? I can't remember what it's called, but they had to wear this little necklace. And if they run too far from their handler, it blows their head off. And if they run too far from wherever they are, it just kills them. And they go on the run somehow.
But he's got to have his handler with him?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And they have to like disarm it somehow.
Yeah.
And in the movie, I believe Rutger Hauer is like a political prisoner.
Shout out to Rutger Hauer. He's a badass.
Yeah, he was.
He was. But yeah, no, I don't necessarily think...
I mean, the whole notion is still open to abuse, because now if you create an industry around these cheap labor or people or whatever it is, you've now incentivized law enforcement to... especially if it's
to go and pick up more labor,
especially if it's for profit,
more grist for the mill.
Yeah, it's pretty tough when you got to bank on people being like good.
Yeah, but I also think that's more along the lines of and we talk about this too sometimes, is it's the places to improve.
Yeah, and one thing to improve would be like
criminal justice.
The way they're doing it now is bad.
It's horrible.
And that's why there's Blackhawks now flying into Malone.
Yeah.
They said 220 guardsmen were deployed to the Malone area for the two prisons there.
I mean, and that's the thing is like with these now, I'm all for, you're not a huge fan of labor unions. I am. I mean, there's the obvious corruption.
I have my issues with public service unions.
Okay.
I like labor unions. They're fine.
I just like organized labor.
Yeah, I just don't call the state employees labor. If you're not swinging a hammer, you're not fucking labor. You're some kind of...
Yeah, but they also have they also have private unions that are,
but this
office workers.
Now this strike isn't a union strike.
No, I know it's unauthorized because they're not allowed to strike.
It's an unallowed strike. They're doing it anyways, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of rad.
And they're not asking for money.
No, they are.
Were they?
Yeah,
I read they weren't. But
they were. Well,
I read they were asking for more CEOs,
staff,
more staff,
more time off.
Because they were working like triple shifts.
Right, but I'm saying I think. Well, I could be wrong about that, but yeah. Anyway, more staff, so to ease the workload on them. Which is fair.
And then I think the one thing they're not going to get is like part of the reason there's less staff is because the prisons are less full.
Yeah.
So they need to close some and consolidate the staff, which means moving.
Well, one of the complaints that they have as well is like the HALT Act, and what they're saying, I guess, is that the prisoners are able to get away with too much. Basically, it sounds like they're saying we have to treat the prisoners with some sort of human dignity.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
On top of that, now there's not enough cameras, so they've spent $2 billion to put cameras in these prisons since like 2016, and they're not all covered.
Like it.
Well, no, they're not all covered. They just haven't done it. They've hired these companies that didn't do what they said they were going to do. So there's all these places in the prison where you can get away with stuff.
Right.
And then the body cameras on top of that. All the COs are supposed to wear body cams, but they have the ability to turn them off, which I don't get that.
I don't get that either, but I also read one where they were saying, I believe that they can also be remotely, you know what I mean, turned on and off. And that some of them, they automatically capture, some video and audio.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Well, that guy that died, all the COs turned theirs off. So
Yeah.
a nurse or someone in the room, somebody else had one on and was like in a standby mode.
Oh,
And that's
Brooks.
guy
Brooks.
And that's how they captured it. They weren't supposed to capture it, but they did.
Of course. And they also had, it wasn't, that story is fucking sick. They had other staff that weren't guards who were helping them clean it up.
Yeah.
To cover it up.
Yeah.
And in my mind, how many, they indicted, 6 or 8 of them?
Something like that, yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, lock them up. I'll go full Trump on that one. Lock these motherfuckers up.
I'm of the mind that, like, if you're in a position of authority and you break those rules, you should get a triple.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't get why, bad teachers, bad cops, why do they get a slap on the wrist?
Yeah.
Why did they served, so they should no, they knew they're rule enforcers. They should get it worse.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They sign up for these jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. You go in, you understand it is a very dangerous job. Okay. But you know what you're walking into. Anybody who walks into that job and, even their first experiences with it, I'm sure that you're going to see some things right away that, if you have that big of an issue with it, then fucking quit.
Right, exactly.
Leave.
Go work at Walmart.
Yeah, nobody's going to nobody can force you to do that. This isn't conscription.
Yeah.
You're not getting shanghaied on the high seas. Oh, is that racist to say that now?
I don't know.
I think that might be racist, actually.
You're not getting impressed by the British
Army.
Army.
Not getting impressed and conscripted into something. You still have the free will to choose whether or not you're going to do it.
Yeah. So,
I understand. I do think that, nobody should be having to work, 48, 72 hours straight.
No, that just doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
How are you even going to be alert?
How can you do your job?
You can't.
You can't.
There's
no fucking way.
Which is why they're going to get replaced by Elon's robots.
Yeah, right. Fuck Elon.
that's coming, right?
Probably.
Like, that seems one of the first places you could replace as a guard.
It's going to be Robo CO.
Yeah, that it.
Well, that's the thing is like,
because if it doesn't get tired, it doesn't break down.
It's stronger than you.
It
can be loaded up with weapons that nobody could access.
If you do kill it, so what?
Right. They can. They have like aircraft and shit where like if it gets taken down, it'll self-destruct. So you can't access any of it.
Yeah, and they're not gonna, be bribable.
Right.
They're not going to get tired. They're not going to have a bad day.
What incentive does a robot have for money?
Yeah. Yeah. It's something to think about, right? It actually sounds like a good idea.
Look, I'm not necessarily. Look, I like innovation. I like to make things more efficient. I don't necessarily, if they could do it right.
Heartless caging of people doesn't seem like something you want to be good at.
Exactly. So like, figure out like there has to be
Give
other
them
ways
drugs.
to do this. Hey man, look, you and I have talked about this plenty of times. All drugs should be legal.
I don't get why you don't allow prisoners to do drugs. Give them weed at the very least.
Let them zonk out.
So what?
Even if they want to do fucking crystal meth, then give them crystal meth and let them go beat the shit out of each other.
Or make them grow their own weed or their own opium.
Well, there's been, it is provable through data that when you give people, even prisoners specifically, when you give them productive things to do where they don't feel that they're being, like abused and shit, they're going to be more docile.
Yeah, prison gardens really do help people.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they give them animals to raise.
Yeah.
There are prisoners who train service dogs.
Right.
That's another living thing that they're caring for that's going to help somebody who needs it. And give them a purpose that's not just like trying to not get raped.
Yeah, and if you're in there for the rest of your life, it can still be pleasant and keep you away from other people.
Yeah. I'm not one to say like if you go rob a store or you break an old lady's hip on purpose and steal her purse, I am not going to feel bad for you for getting locked up, and I don't think your experience should be, all fucking flowers and shit. But I also don't see the need to be particularly cruel.
And if you with years in there doing work, getting therapy, if at the end of it you actually had empathy for your victim and
that's a win.
Turned around, and you can now be released, not as a even worse psychopath, but like, oh, I'm so sorry I did that, and I'm going to dedicate my life to. And people think that sounds like roses, but dude, it happens all the time.
And that's not. Look, if you're a psychopath, you're not getting cured.
No,
but and I think that would be one aspect of
most people
reforming
aren't.
it. No, exactly.
Most people are like a kid who didn't get raised right, maybe kind of stupid,
was abused in some way,
was abused in their own way. They don't care about life in the same way just because they've been stepped on their whole life. They go punch somebody out and they don't think much of it, and that person gets really hurt, or something worse, falls down, cracks their head open. Now they're in jail for 25 years.
Yeah, the TBIs are proven. Like a lot of the serial killers, they've had TBIs. So when you have a major brain injury like that, like that's actually one that I think they said now that's probably the biggest indicator of serious like psychopathic,
which is why we're going to brain scan every American and weed out the ones who have that.
Jesus Christ.
Problem solved.
I knew we had to figure out a way to get some sort of roundup of people worked into the show this week.
We'll just call it a free health scan.
That's free health care.
We'll just do it at the airport. Everybody steps into the X-ray machine anyway.
Right.
So I was flying, and I felt so stupid. And one of my coworkers commented, because we practice mindfulness.
Right.
We are alert and aware. And we can see the lines, and we're like, this is stupid. And here we are participating. We can see the security. Here we are participating. Here we are, shoes off like this is so stupid. And yet here we are doing it. Like aware of it, aware of the futility of it and the show of it. Because, one thing that always comes to my mind in those security lines is these lines are where all the people are.
Right.
So ostensibly, I could like forget and bring like wine or something with me to the airport, and it would get thrown out, and that wine could actually be something else,
and
it would just get thrown out before it even goes through a scanner. It would get thrown out,
and
then I would get on an airplane, and then it would explode where all those people are. Wouldn't that make a good movie?
That would make a good movie.
Good plot point.
I'm writing a movie right now.
Don't do that, Al Qaeda. Don't do that.
No, don't do that. I wonder if that someone had to have. Well, I don't know. You are pretty quick sometimes, so maybe that was something.
Well, we do the shoe thing because one guy failed to set off a shoe bomb, and that's why we have to take our shoes off.
Right.
And it's just like an indignity.
Yeah.
And it didn't even. It was a failed attempt.
Yeah. Failed attempt.
So if Doge wants to gut something, let's start with the TSA.
I don't fly. I never will fly unless I absolutely am forced to. But I mean. I've listened to so many horror stories of people, going, dealing with TSA, and I've also heard older people talk about how awesome it was to fly like back in the 80s and 70s and shit.
Yeah.
Like
it looks awesome.
It was pretty fucking rad.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
all the stewardess were hot. Like that was a prerequisite, was you had to be hot.
They're not stewardesses anymore.
They're not anymore because they're not hot anymore. They're just like dudes.
It's a bunch of dudes.
I love when it's like a flamboyantly gay guy,
gross beards,
and he'll be like really into it. So they have to do the pre-flight thing where they, and they have to do this every time. So a lot of times they're not into it. They're just but once in a while you get a guy that's like totally into it.
Oh no shit.
He's gonna be extra about it. I appreciate it. I'm gonna clap for him.
I could see you fucking doing that too. I really could. I could see Josh like, fucking encore, doing some shit like that.
Yeah,
that would be funny.
I flew Southwest, and I noticed they're a little more funny on the mic. So
yeah.
I think that's a thing that they're encouraged to do.
Do the captains speak on the microphones?
Yeah. Usually they'll tell you where you're going, the weather.
Yeah.
If you're about to hit, like, we're gonna hit some turbulence, and relax. We're probably not gonna die.
I think it was Seinfeld. He's got a bit where it's like the captain gets on the microphone. It's like, this is Captain Dave speaking, and you're like, oh, he's good. That's, I always wonder about that. Like, if somebody, like, I don't know, just that idea of, like, I can understand you want to, like, sort of make a connection between the person flying you 30,000 feet.
I mean, I always thank them when I get off the flight. Like, thank you for not dying.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Well, actually, we were going to talk about Doge, too, so we could talk about all the fucking plane crashes lately.
It was really cool to do this fly through the air like a god, and we didn't even land upside down like when we flew into Toronto.
Like in Toronto?
So I stepped off there. So the airplane lands. You're supposed to put your phone in an airplane mode. I don't.
Right.
I find it interesting where I'll get a connection, where I won't.
Do you believe that actually can interfere with the electronics on the plane?
Not anymore.
It can't, right?
Not anymore.
How could it?
It might have early on.
Okay.
Before they shielded electronics.
Right.
But your phone is like a 10 milliamps or
it's like different frequencies and shit.
No, it's just the power level's low.
Oh, okay.
So it's like your skin will stop this signal.
Okay.
Right. If your phone probably has poor reception in this room, and where it's getting reception is the cracks of the door and the window.
Okay.
That's where your signal's getting in. So, it's not really going to affect too many things. Maybe early on but airlines are subject to all sorts of stuff. Like,
sure.
They're flying above the atmosphere.
Right.
Right. Like pilots, some of my coworkers didn't know this. Pilots and stewardesses have a higher incidence of leukemia.
Really?
Yeah, because they get hit by more radiation from the sun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they're spending extended times. Every flight is something like 3 or 4 X-rays.
That makes sense. Oh shit!
Something like that. I don't know the exact. I could be making the number up.
Yeah,
but they're subjected to more cosmic rays, and gamma and beta radiation and whatever UV that's coming through the atmosphere.
Wow!
Because they're in less atmosphere.
Right.
The same thing would happen if you lived very high.
They're not necessarily flying through cloud cover, so it's all
right. Yeah,
especially the pilots, right? Yeah, I mean, they're just like. Big open window.
Yeah.
Everything coming in at them.
They're at 30,000 feet.
Sure.
For extended periods each and every day.
Yeah. Oh,
so in any case, that's that. So if the plane is the electronics on the plane is subject to all of that as well.
Right.
So if that isn't shorting out your comm system, your little cell phone's probably. Although I did read that you can't charge your phone on the plane because there's not enough power on the plane.
Okay.
If everybody's phone was plugged in at the same time on the plane, you would just drain the battery of the plane.
No shit.
Yeah, because that's all the electronics on the plane are on a battery.
Uh-huh.
And they just charge
like
it
a
up.
car.
Yeah, they just charge it up between airports.
Right.
And phones are now so high powered and laptops and all that. They're just
I mean, this thing is $1,200.
Yeah.
And it was did you know that too? Anyway, sorry, go ahead. I was interrupting again.
Yeah, that's so. So I do believe that if the airline, anyways, the first thing as I landed when my service came back, because I didn't put it in airplane mode, was that a plane flipped over in Toronto.
Oh shit! That was that day.
That was that day. It happened 58 minutes before I landed.
Okay, so so I gotta ask, so everybody is watching, Elon going nuts with his fucking chainsaw and Javier Milei, that fucking psychopath. But, and what Doge is doing. Do you think, I'm not going to try to lead you, but what do you think? Do you believe that the cuts that they've made so far has anything to do with the numerous crashes and such that have happened lately?
I was thinking of that. It's not air traffic control.
Mm-hmm.
There was the one incident that was air traffic control, and it might not have been because it was a military helicopter.
The one with the military, right?
Yeah, and I did question, like, what are the odds? Like, when you look in the sky, it's big.
Right.
So, even a helicopter's big, but like them happening to meet at the same point in space.
What are the odds?
It's, so I don't know there. I don't think, like, I don't know what happened in Toronto. From what I understand, it may have been a flap malfunction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what federal agency overlooks safety. I think each airport does that.
It's the I think it's the NTSB.
I thought, they investigate and everything, but I don't think they employ all the people.
No. It's got it's the FAA and oh fuck, now I forget.
I think the airplane stuff is just
everybody pull out your Google phones right now.
Yeah, I think the airplane stuff has more to do with one incident happened. Now we're watching. And it's just not that far away. Another incident happened in Canada,
right?
Which is a whole different regulatory structure.
Well, but it was also an American flight.
But it must be serviced in Canada too. Like,
probably.
It's got to land at the airport. So
sure.
Their airport, Delta, has to take care of all the stuff.
Yep.
So I'm just assuming that one was a freak accident.
Probably.
From what I understand, it was could have been a flap. So you know what a flap's to an airplane, right?
Yep.
You slow it down. Well, imagine you're slowing down and one breaks. Now only one side is slowing you down.
Now you flip over.
Yeah, and now that's crosswinds. That's it.
Yeah.
So that seems plausible.
Mm.
Nobody died.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Still, because
we have footage of the crash and somebody in the plane escaping.
Well, because that was the thing, was like when you said that, I hadn't looked at anything about it since 2 days ago, and at that time nobody had died, so it's still, that's the status right now.
As far as I know.
Yeah. That really is amazing that nobody died.
Yeah, it was right on landing.
I don't usually use the term miraculous. Holy fuck, I'm doing it again. Citizenship. But yeah, I mean, that's a callback, people. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy nobody died. And again, I loathe Donald Trump. I cannot fucking stand Elon Musk. But I have a hard time blaming this on them.
I think over time this kind of stuff could become their fault. I just don't think it's been long enough.
Yeah.
It's been like a month.
I think it's
It's like literally a month since they started.
Yeah. I mean, they've cut 300 air traffic controllers, which I don't think is a good idea.
Probably not.
Probably
Those
not a good idea.
Those people are already overworked.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the reason they don't have a union is because didn't Reagan break up their union because they struck in the 80s?
Yeah. Shit.
But imagine if you just had them not going to work.
Yeah. Maybe I should have fucking remembered to write down some of this shit before we started talking about it. No, but I mean, yeah, that's the thing, is like, just like as a topical, thing that we're speaking about right now.
Plus, I was just on an airplane.
I mean, I can't believe people do this shit. I don't know. Here's
what's wild.
I can't do it. You're not supposed to be in the fucking air like
that.
Dude,
those planes are coming and going. It's like every minute. There's
one
leaving and there's one arriving.
It's insane.
And to watch the turnaround, how quickly it is a marvel. When you think about the logistics involved in all of it, and it just sort of works all the time. And it has for a long time now.
That's fair, actually. Yeah. That is kind of a humanity,
it's a pretty
like miracle,
neat endeavor.
Well, not miracle, but it's impressive. It is impressive.
Yeah, I'm watching. You're watching the stuff get unloaded, the people scheduled. It's all digital. They've worked with technology. It's like, you're watching it on you're getting real time updates on the weather and It's just like, holy crap, and it just all works.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible.
And I can imagine how easy it is to break.
Oh yeah,
but it works, and like.
Well, how long is it going to be before AI is doing all the air traffic controlling?
I mean, that's probably one of the things it would be really good at.
I would think so, but also you're going to need human oversight as well.
Oh, well, just to update the computer. So one of the Y2K problems was air traffic. Yeah. Airline computers were built in like the 70s, and they worked. you don't really. It's like our recording system here.
Yeah.
It works.
Sure.
We kind of don't want to screw around with it.
Right.
We kind of want to just to leave it alone and let it work.
Well, that's why the nuclear system is still on fucking floppy disks.
Yeah. That's why all those computer systems are so old, because the upgrade it would just screw up everything.
Well, they were talking about that with Elon and Doge. They came out with the Social Security. There's people who are 150 years old who are, in the Social Security system, whatever.
I've read it's not exactly like that.
It's not.
They're misrepresenting something.
And that's the, that's the thing is there's this system called COBOL, COBOL.
Yeah.
And it's this
old program language.
It's this old software coding system. And it's so it's easy to just pull that shit out. But like, you have to have somebody actually comb through the data who knows what they're doing. And be able to, point out, okay, it says this, but that doesn't necessarily mean somebody's getting paid from that.
Yeah.
And,
and the fact that they're misrepresenting that stuff is what makes me think this is just a scam.
Exactly.
If they were honest about it, I'd be a little more rah-rah.
Yeah.
Let's look into this. But they're misrepresenting. Some people, the man was 60, the woman was 20 when they were married. The man died at 80. He was getting benefits. The wife collected the benefits for 30 years.
Yep.
So, 80 plus 30, there you go.
Yeah.
You're 100.
We have, and that's the thing is you get Trump out there. And see, here's the thing is that I really hope people understand this, is that a lot of this, the Doge stuff, it's show. It is it's entertainment because it's when you look at the stuff that Doge has caught so far, and I'm not disagreeing, I do think that there's a need for there is a need to go and root out the fraud, waste, abuse, all that shit. I don't think that the flamethrower approach is the right one. It needs to be more surgical. But I also do know that it's a good show. So when you come out and say, we've found $100 million that's, bullshit and we cut, that's a fucking whole lot of money.
Yeah.
But it is a drop in the bucket for a budget yearly that's like trillions of dollars.
Right, exactly.
It's nothing. And again, it's good to catch it. It is. It's good to catch it. It's good to cut that stuff off. But when you really want to get into fixing it, the only two, and this is, you watch any economist, even the dickhead economists who are Reaganomics fans and shit, any of them will tell you that the biggest places where money is being wasted, it's the Department of Defense, Pentagon, and then entitlements, Social Security, all that. You touch Social Security Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and you cut them in any way, people are going to, rightfully so, flip the fuck out. Now, should you go in and find out where the mistakes are happening in there? For sure, definitely. But you really want to go and start uncovering fraud? Go to the fucking Pentagon.
And if you want to take a chainsaw to something, figure out why medicine costs what it costs. Not why we're spending so much money on it. Why is it so expensive? And take your chainsaw to the medical and insurance companies.
Yep.
That's where it's hurting people.
Go hit Big Pharma. Go hit
even Big Pharma, right? Big Pharma funds their research. They have to deal with a lot of stuff.
Well, that's not really true either.
Yeah,
we
do a
those
lot
who
of
pay
research.
taxes,
Yeah.
Anybody who pays taxes, you are the one almost. You're funding almost entirely their research budgets.
Yeah. So find out why medicine costs what it costs.
Yep.
And you're going to find out the middlemen make it cost that way.
And you can find out that these people who own these companies and run them are fucking monsters, which is why, you know what I mean?
Hail Luigi.
Hail Luigi. I mean, I'm never going to turn my back on that guy. Did you see that they raised like a few $100,000 for him? Yeah. And his lawyers were like, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll take it. And I know your stance on lawyers, but, I think.
Genocide?
I know
Want to genocide lawyers?
Oh man, I was talking to PJ about that the other day, and I said he listens to the show, and I said, well, Josh wants to like basically do away with all lawyers. He thinks you're all evil except for you, and then, but yeah, I mean, I just it big pharma, and then the big health providers, the insurance companies, all these dirtballs work together. So all of that bullshit is what makes it cost so much. And to me, it's like you look at it, and the health industry, it's kind of like the government. There's all the costs come from the administrative state. That's why that's why higher ed costs so much.
Yeah.
It's all that administrative bloat.
Right.
So do away with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and I'm not saying all of it, but you can cut
a lot of it can be done by AI.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean,
that's the truth is AI will revolutionize things like air traffic control, ground traffic control.
Yep.
Like just for an instance, imagine every car on the highway has a smart navigation that can see all the other traffic ahead of time, and will all adjust speed concurrently. So it's spacing.
Can even create predictive models.
Yes. And then can predict how we can improve this system so that future upgrades will make more sense. Because we've all seen the highways that don't make sense sometimes. They're all in Quebec.
Well, have you ever seen, like, I didn't know this before, but like they were talking about Atlanta, and I guess that's like fucking ridiculous down there. And I can't even imagine what it, but like, I mean, yeah, to fix those sorts of things, like let AI get an overview of the entire, road, like even primary roads and the secondary roads, and then
because it can see all the data,
the highways.
It can process all the data in real time
and figure out
at the same time, which we can't do.
Yeah, where you could, where you can let AI do that and then say, look, here's where we can make improvements. So let's make a spur here. Let's do this here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see the benefit of that.
That's the benefit of AI.
Yes.
Things like that. Things like interconnected toilets where, it's sampling your output, matching it to a huge database of illnesses,
letting you know that you now have rampant syphilis through your fucking populace.
Yeah, buddy, go see a doctor.
Or how they detected that polio is making a fucking comeback.
Yeah, because dip deeps are afraid of vaccinations.
Dude, I'm fucking so sick of this shit. Now, look, there's I did see a thing where it was like most people under the age of, I don't know, like 50 or some shit have taken, like, on average, like more than 40 vaccines.
Yeah, I have.
And I know that I can guess that some of those are totally unnecessary, and I'm okay with that. But when people are going to doubt the efficacy of fucking polio vaccines, I can't really take you seriously.
Yeah, stuff that's been around for almost 100 years.
Measles, mumps, rubella. Like, dude, come on. Give me a fucking break.
Well, the number of people who seem to think that the space isn't real and the earth is flat is surprisingly high.
I think that shit's growing too.
I mean, just for my joke about, like, we just need to improve our racism and stop just making it about, like, phenotype.
Yeah.
And instead make it about, like, if you believe this set of questions, we're going to round you up and take you out of the gene pool.
All right. That's a good segue into our last segment for the show.
Yeah, hour in.
So we wanted to, well, I know. We'll keep, actually, I don't think this was bad because we actually moved along and
everything fits in chunks.
Yeah, we did it in chunks. We could cut this up and do shorts.
Yeah, you can.
But I just wanted to, so the Outlaws have a show coming up. Why don't you explain what's going on?
We're doing a comedy show, but it will have happened already by the time you hear this because it's tomorrow at 8 p.m. But we'll do more shows. And hopefully...
What's the format?
Well, this time's format is me and each of the guys are going to do 10 minutes of our own stuff, 10, 12 minutes, whatever, 8 minutes of our own material, and you get a free show out of that because we've had a lot of deaths in our community, and I'm pretty sure people are low. There's lots of deaths happening, and it just keeps happening. So last time we did a show, it was because of that. It was because a lot of deaths were happening, and let's pick people up with, my humor.
Even with raunchy comedy,
my humor's all kinds of sparkles and unicorns.
Yes, yeah.
So, and now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give our watchers, our listeners, our audience an opportunity to do their own couple minutes of stand-up comedy.
And this was kind of...
We thought of this we thought of this all on our own. Nobody else has ever done this.
So fuck that guy, Tony Hinchcliffe.
No, we won't. We're not even going to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
No, we came up with this idea all on our own. He's hilarious.
He is pretty funny.
And he has given a lot of comics a platform. Yes, he performed at a Trump thing. Yes.
And it was I didn't really think it was that bad. He
kind of took digs at them too.
Well, yeah, and I could see when he said the thing about Puerto Ricans, I'm like, okay, I understand how people can get to where they're like, oh, it's racist.
But if you watch the show, you'll see that he's been kind of obsessed with this idea of garbage.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with he's actually given a couple Puerto Rican people like
a platform
their
to
career.
Jump off.
Yeah.
I think but yeah, so I don't know.
So in any case, we're going to give any aspiring comics or people who just think they're funny the chance to try it out.
You guys got anybody who signed up?
We do. We've got like 5 or 6 people who've signed up so far.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
We'll also take crowd signups.
Yeah.
So if you show up, this will already happen, but
you going to allow any other kind of performances up there?
No, just comedy, stand-up comedy. No.
How long are you going to give the people?
A couple minutes.
If they're good, are you going to let them keep going? See how far they can roll?
No.
No?
A couple minutes. Oh. Maybe if they're real good, we won't shut them up.
You fucking authoritarians.
But if they're dog shit, we'll cut them.
Do them a favor.
Yeah. No, we don't.
If somebody's on a good roll and you guys cut them off, I'm gonna be like, you fucking assholes,
let him go.
Fucking let him go, you fucking dictators. You're not the fucking ruler of comedy.
Free Luigi.
Yeah, exactly. Really like fucking do you all in.
So that's what we're going to do. Holy heck.
It's going to be fun, I think. And I'm definitely, my wife and I will certainly be there. And I will be.
You'll have been there.
I will be. I'll have been there in the past tense. But I do think this is going to be fun. And we have had, we've got a lot of sadness in the community right now. And I think that this is something that really could, you know what I mean, lighten the mood a bit.
Yep.
Bring some levity to Acquisition. I think that we can use that right now.
Sure can. So hopefully you came to this show.
Having
heard this.
I know. I really do hope everybody goes. Because I actually was, when you were saying that about your style of comedy, and I've seen some of your stuff. You send it to me once in a while. I did think about, because the intent was at one point I kind of was going to interview Josh about comedy and all that, but there was something I was thinking about, like understanding all of the tragedies we've had lately in the community. One question that I always wanted to ask you is, so where do you draw a line? Like, what is too far for you?
I don't really have one.
I knew you were gonna. I kind of knew you were gonna say that.
I mean, I'll feel the room. Like, if they're not gonna get the joke, I'm not gonna do it. Like,
you're saying your audience is dumb?
No. Will always says that I treat people like they're dumb.
I don't think so.
But like,
I just think because you can use 3-syllable words that he gets insulted.
Yeah. No. It's
I'm just kidding, William.
Yeah. If I do a native joke in a white room, like they're just not gonna get it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They're just not going to have any context when I use words like snide. I mean, they're not going to even know what that is.
That's inside baseball.
Yeah. So there's some stuff that will work. Locally, we can make jokes about hickeys and aunties and all that. And it works here.
Yeah. It's going to go over good.
Right, but it won't work out there.
Go over well.
Go over the good. There's jokes out there that I'll do that, unless you have a local context, you really won't get.
Sure. I mean, I'm thinking too in the context of like
one of my funniest jokes that get the biggest pops in Ottawa. Will and John were unfazed by it.
Yeah. Well, I just because to me it's like you see those comedians, and obviously, I mean, things have progressed from. I mean, when you look at Lenny Bruce today, that's funny. Pretty fucking mild.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it was crazy,
groundbreaking
back then, and all credit to him for what he did.
Richard Pryor still holds up.
Yeah. Oh, Pryor always
holds up. Like Pryor's one of the first ones to be like, "This is my life.
Yep.
Look at it." But
yep. I mean, look, I still think he was the one who kind of. I mean, I can't say for sure, but like I'm a stand-up guy. I love stand-up.
Same. I've always watched it. My first recollections are like, I was like 8 or 9 years old watching George Carlin.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And I didn't get half the jokes. No. But he cussed a lot, and that was great.
Yep. And as you get older too, and you like start to understand it more, like Carlin was just like, he was so sharp. I mean, like, and I know everybody has said that before, but like, it really is like a lot, like the best comedians to me, they're so intelligent.
And then Def Comedy Jam. And I grew up watching all that stuff, watching Dice Clay but you know, I probably had a lot of can't do that's.
Okay.
You know, I think growing up in my life, I had a good helping of the can't do that's.
Yeah.
And it turns out I can do that.
That's I mean, sometimes you got to push through that shit, right?
Well, then I pushed through the requisite trauma to be funny.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, there's people, I've seen people make jokes about, you know, their abuse as a child. And they can turn it into something funny.
Yeah. You
have to be very skillful.
Tragedy plus time equals comedy.
Well, I mean, there's the sad clown thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of comedians are really deeply fucked up.
Comedians are fucked up people.
Yeah.
Like all of us are fucked up.
I mean, even the one, like Chris Farley is my favorite of all time. When I was a kid, I wanted to be Chris Farley. I used to do all the, you know, like the impressions and shit of him. I'd break shit on purpose just to fucking get a laugh. But, you know, he wasn't a stand-up, but deeply fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Belushi, the same thing. You
know,
they
all die. Mitch Hedberg.
I mean, Mitch Hedberg.
And they don't live healthy lives. Like one of my favorites.
Geraldo.
Yeah, one of my favorites is Patrice O'Neill.
Oh, Patrice. Yeah, but
his was natural causes.
Yeah, his was natural, but he probably abused the shit out of himself too.
Food, probably drugs.
Patrice is one of the funniest fucking comedians I ever saw.
Oh, a guy who's sharp and has zero filter.
Yeah, he really
he'll go so hard in the paint.
When you listen to I'm not so hot on Joe Rogan anymore, but some of the guys that go on his show, like, they knew Patrice, and they will say that is a guy who truly did not give a fuck. He would say whatever he wanted to say, and he didn't care. He would just do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like guys who are smart. Like I like Mark Maron and
you
know, Bill Hicks was one. When I found Bill Hicks, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Doug Stanhope's still one of my favorites. I just watched his new special.
I don't know, for him, like I like when I find Doug Stanhope to be hitting, it's like brilliant.
Yeah.
But then like sometimes I'm just like, it's not funny to me. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes it's more interesting than funny.
Yes. Yeah, because his stories about him and his wife and shit are fucking, like, they're so weird, it seems. Like, what the hell's her name? You know,
Bingo.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Like, when he's talking about that, I'm like, these are real people?
They are.
This is fucking
There's
wild
a
to
circus
me.
around him.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just wild. And it's fun. But, like, there's a lot of, I mean, Stanhope will say, like, Doug Stanhope will say, like, he's a drunk. You know what I mean? All this shit. I mean, look at how many comedians do talk about, like, they were junkies, they were addicts, they were drunks, you know, and some of them make it out of it. And
a lot of them have poor impulse control.
Yeah. I mean, I would get, because for you anyway, you must have, in my experience, you're actually pretty self-controlled.
Yeah.
You know, pretty well.
Can be.
Well, yeah, but
lately
then it seems like when you go for it, you're just like, it's like your ADHD and you're just going to jump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to go for it.
Yeah.
And that's admirable.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess.
No, but it's, you know, people don't think about that too much, but like the courage that it takes to go up on a stage and to be able to just like open yourself up like that, that's incredible, because like when somebody gets up on stage to sing, you're bringing an instrument, right?
Sometimes, unless you're just a singer.
Well, but I'm saying like that's your instrument.
Yeah.
When you're going up as a comedian, you're just yourself.
Yeah.
These are your thoughts.
And you're trying to get a specific emotion.
And you're trying to see, like, that really is a test of if people like you.
And it feels really cool when you like kill.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
must. Yeah.
When it hits hard and you're just like, holy shit.
You get those like belly laughs from everybody.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty awesome.
I have a joke recently. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Fucking room exploded.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Was it one of the ones you showed me or no?
Probably. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well,
I have so many. It's just like from my challenge is always remembering them in the way. And it's a skill like anything else, right? It's like the more you do it, the better you get at it. That's why it's tough. It's tough around here because we don't have a nightlife.
Yeah.
We don't have even Cornwall, our nearest city. If you're from far away, our nearest city is Cornwall, Ontario, and it's 40,000 people, and it doesn't really have a nightlife either.
Because you've got to go to Ottawa, right?
I tend to go to Ottawa, which has a scene.
Does Montreal?
They do have a bit of a scene with the French thing.
Because they have that big comedy festival.
They
there.
used to. It shut down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Just for Laughs shut down.
I didn't know that.
But there's a couple clubs. I've gone into a couple places over there, but the scene is different. The Ottawa scene is very supportive. It can be a little cliquey, but
sure,
it's very supportive. And I don't know. At least they seem to like me.
Yeah,
I keep bringing. I'm from far away, and
well, when you send me the sets that you do from up in Ottawa, when you do, you get laughs.
Yeah,
and I laugh at your stuff. You know what I mean? I think it's funny.
But to me. One thing I used to do teaching. I used to do presentation. Mm-hmm. And I would always be joking in the presentation because I learned early on when you tell people our history, you can really nosedive them into sorrow really easily. And I notice it's a lot of people like to lay into the victim thing, and I've noticed that with young people who do what I used to do, who do presentations and all of that stuff and like traveling and teaching, they'll really lay into the trauma.
Yeah.
And it just brings the room down. There's no levity there. And so I think I learned to, you don't
want to make everybody cry all the time, right?
You don't want them to check out.
Right.
It's okay to cry, but when they start to disassociate and
that's
they start to check out because, You're starting to traumatize them. Yeah, and read the room, man. If this is a bunch of recent immigrants, they're not going to care about really old stuff.
Right.
So I kind of learned to be sort of funny when I would do the presentations, but I never I would watch a lot of comedy and be like, I could probably do this. And I wouldn't write, I would never write things down. When I started writing things down is when I started.
Got a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I did like stand up was with John. It was a long time ago. He did something at Sny Rec, and I could talk for 20 minutes. I just only did a couple of jokes for like mid. Yeah. And it was a Sny crowd. Yeah. Which people don't know. They're not the most expressive group of people in the world.
Yeah, and we definitely have non-native listeners to this. Sny is unto itself. Yeah. It's a different,
people are more reserved. Yeah. That's all. They're reserved on that part of the reserve.
And no, Sny people, I love you.
No, it's true. We all know it. Yeah. People are a little more reserved with their praise and their laughter and
old school.
Yeah, old school. Yeah. So I did some down there, and then I did another show with them with the Outlaws like 2019. They did a call out. They were looking for new people. I mean, I did go to one of their shows before, and I was like, oh, I could do this. I'm as funny as these guys. I might be funnier.
You know what? That's got to be something that comedians have too. Is like that's like there's the insecurity, but then it always seems to me like a lot of comedians like there is this deep insecurity in them, but then it's also like fuck you, I'm funny.
And there's some that are undeniable. Like,
well, yeah,
they're so funny.
I mean, you watch like Dave Chappelle or fucking Bill Burr.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle is undeniable. You can say whatever you want about him. He is a showman, and he can tell a story like no one else.
Sharp as they come.
Yeah, Bill Burr too. He can.
He doesn't even really tell stories.
He just cuts to the quick.
He's just cuts to the quick. Yeah, it was pretty funny what he.
He's become a left-wing darling of late. And because no one else is going after the right that hard.
And the funny shit to me is that like Bill Burr is not a lefty, really.
Not really.
He's just
I don't know. He's from Boston. Boston people they're like a hard ass lefty.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, you've watched a lot of Bill Burr.
Yeah.
He's more like he reminds me of like, he's an old school type guy.
Yeah.
Like he's not, when it comes to like politics and shit, I think what he's looking at to me, what always comes across is when he's talking about politics, he's really just looking at these people like, you're so full of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And in both sides of you,
right.
Left and right, you're both bullshitting yourselves.
Yeah.
And you're not being honest about what's really going on, and you're not seeing your own biases.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it out.
Yeah, and I think that's what my comedy comes from, my angst at the world.
Yeah.
Like it's the sad hilarity of everything.
The gallows humor.
Yeah, and that's why I go so dark. It's
yeah.
just because, that's where I put all my angst and things that I can't control and stupid shit.
Well, I mean, when you look to it, I mean, well, I won't say the best because, like, I guess that's subjective, but my favorite comics, when you look at the ones who I like the best, I mean, aside from, like, Eddie Murphy, but, like, Pryor, Carlin, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, like, those guys, they do go dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can make, they can pull out that gallows humor out of it.
Right.
But they have that. You know what I mean? And that's...
Yeah. I mean, I can think of, like, a joke. It usually just starts with, like, a stupid thought. Like, these kids I know were fighting in the park, and they're, like, recording themselves. I'm like, these idiots aren't even good at fighting. Look at them. And I'm just thinking, I'm sure glad we have a safe space for our kids to fight in. And I'm like, oh, these are all girls. What a sign of female empowerment this is.
That's the thing.
Oh, man, the moms are going to get on Facebook, and they're going to be so mad about this. They're just going to be complaining. Don't let them girls see that because they're going to go beat the moms up.
Bring them in for a mindfulness session. Bring the moms in for a mindfulness session.
Yeah, so the ridiculousness of it just made me laugh.
That's the thing is like, that's the thing that I like to see is like the people who can pull out, they can point out the absurdity of what's going on in life and then turn it into something funny.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking about that lately, like racism. We make racism all about skin color and
right.
like the shape of our face and not anything of intrinsically about us. So
yep.
Maybe we should do that. Like, what if we just killed all the dumb people?
There you go.
Like, wouldn't that just natural selection us up a little smarter?
Your stand-up special will be eugenics.
Yeah.
A good idea.
Eugenics 2.0. This time we'll get it right. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, we're Indians. Like blood quantum is eugenics, man.
Yeah, it is.
We like, I went to this conference and the woman's telling me about a relative who was like, who survived the Holocaust and where's their the number they have as a pride thing. And I said, oh yeah, you want to see something neat? I pulled out my Canadian status card. It's got a number.
Yeah.
All of us have a number.
That's holy shit. I never thought. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we all have a number.
Yeah.
I'm going to get tattooed right here.
Yeah. Fuck.
Just like Wakanda.
Yeah. Holy shit. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
We do all have a number.
Yeah.
We actually have two.
I have an old picture on my Facebook from back when it was still cool.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of myself and I put a barcode on my head. That's what, and we want that. We're more of an Indian if we have that number, which is even weirder.
That is very, very fucking true.
There's like mixed blooded people who would kill to have a number.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
And there's French people who fake being Indian to have a number.
The Micamacs or
the Mackinac.
Yeah, Mackinac motherfucks. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, that's true. Because it's, I mean, there are a lot of white people who would look at, even me looking like a white guy, but oh my God, he's half and he's got a cool number. It's
I know.
Like, holy fuck, man. I point that out to people too, though. I'm like, try actually being a native.
Yeah.
Try
looking like this on the res.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I get discriminated against.
I don't want to do my joke. I can because I'm not going to. This isn't going to come out there after I had a stupid joke. It was like, I have to tell you I'm native to do these jokes for them to make any sense. I'm okay with it. Like I grew up looking this way. My cousins never let me forget the way I look. That's why when ICE comes for them, I'm just going to help them. I'm gonna be like, he's right there. He's Mexican. Get him. I don't know. He's not from here. He's like a Romanian. He came over the river. Get him.
He's a gypsy. He's a fucking gypsy.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that about my cousin because they were an asshole when I was growing up.
Or some of the, like there's some of our people who like they kind of look Asian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's Chinese. Hey,
he's
Mohawk.
Chinese. Get him. He picked on me for being fucking pale one day. He sent him back.
Send him back to Honduras.
Yeah. Oh fuck, we're gonna get in trouble for this one. Or I'm gonna get in trouble for it anyway. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm glad that we got to talk about comedy a little bit. And
yeah, hour and a half in.
I'm looking, well, I mean, we did a good 20 minutes on this. But I'm glad that we did. And I'll be there. And I know you're going to kill it.
Hopefully, if I'm not dying.
Yeah.
I'll go up anyways, even when I'm sick.
I know you will.
Yeah.
I know you will.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit there front and center.
I drove through a goddamn snowstorm to go do yucks last week.
You fucking snowshoed to get out of your house. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think a cold is going to stop you from performing.
I had a thought I wanted to share. I had it over the weekend. So I went to this conference, nothing to do with comedy. But I went to this conference and they were talking about, the gist of it was becoming aware of your biases and how it makes you feel in your body. And the presenter, so it's a black community. And the presenter was a black lady, and she says she was relating a story about how she went to France, and she felt this like lightness when she went to France. And she says you can't be free in the land of your oppressor. And I thought that was interesting, but from her perspective, from a black person from originally from the East. I think she was originally from Baltimore.
Okay.
Whose great whatever grandparents were slaves.
Sure.
And that's most people.
Right.
There. And that idea as an indigenous person, it takes on such another meaning because
we have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, we are in our land.
Yeah.
Where we are being oppressed in our land.
Yeah.
And that is why it's such a demeaning thing when you go through the borders or you get asked your business by these white people, these invaders.
Yeah.
Who have come in here. So we're impressed by invaders.
And that's what that, like when I said that thing about when I'll tell white people try being native.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things is like every day it's thrown in our face.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it literally is thrown in our face. We are made to know that like this little reservation, this is the only place you have, and we've taken everything else, and we don't let you truly act autonomously, and we're going to control pretty much every aspect of your life. So, just think about this, non-native people, is the anger that we all feel every day, but, we can push it away a bit.
Yeah.
But it's always there, and we don't have anywhere else to go.
Right. And then some of us, we could blend back into the melting pot.
Well, it would be easy for like me to like, because I can pass.
Yeah.
But I'm native, and like I can never let that. I can never let that anger and shit go.
Yeah.
I just can't.
You just be smushing a part of yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Which is why we'll go make war on France.
Yeah.
That was the thought. It's totally random and has nothing to do with anything else we were talking about.
No, but I like it.
But yeah, and I think my comedy comes out of that place.
Yeah. Yeah. I see it.
Yeah.
I do.
All right. We're Sage Against the Machine. I'm Joshua.
I'm Isaac.
And we're out of here.